Welcome to the DFS Express Podcast, your stop for daily fantasy sports talk, including slate breakdowns and industry commentary. Let's go to the host of our show, the Daily Fantasy Sniper.
What's up, everybody? Here for another episode of the Slide Tackle. Gonna change the format from the slide tackle moving forward. Not just gonna do 3 plays. I'm gonna do a quick preview of the entire slate, every game on the slate. This episode is for the Saturday, February 1st Soccer Slate. DraftKings, we got 6 games. FanDuel, we got 7 games. Gonna run through each game, general thoughts, odds, plays I like for both sites. Get you started that way. If you're watching this on YouTube, notice a mess behind me. Those of you just listening, there is a disassembled crib behind me. Thankfully, my daughter's moved into her big girl bed, as we're calling it. So crib got disassembled. I'm gonna give it to someone who needs it later in the week. But until then, it kind of, as you can see, is living in my office. So that's the story behind that. Before we get started, guys, if you could like, comment, subscribe on YouTube, iTunes, greatly appreciate all that stuff. You give me a follow on Twitter at @sniper_DFS. Like I said, this is a preview, initial start for the slate. Things change as lineups come out. Full list of plays. I'm a coach over at DFS Army. Go to dfsarmy.com. Use the code SNIPER for 20% off your membership. That's all the intro I'll give you. Let's start talking about this soccer slate. Some good GPPs on it, so I am excited to talk about it. First game we're going to talk about is Aston Villa and Bournemouth. Aston Villa in this game is, I should say, Bournemouth is a plus 104 favorite. Aston Villa is a plus 235 underdog, so still relatively close game. Does have a total at 2 3/4. If you're new to DFS soccer, about 2.5 is the standard. That's how we judge things off of. Below that's a low total. Usually 3 is what I would consider a high total. This is somewhere in the middle of that, so on the higher side than average. I should have had this started, queued up before I did the intro and everything. I want to pull up what I use for team news. Of course, a lot of this stuff is early in the week, so things could change as we go throughout the week, but I'm going to just go based on what I have. So we'll start over on the Aston Villa side. Look, Jack Grealish is relatively matchup proof on DK. He's going to be my favorite DK play of the slate. Dude just has a great floor, 9,100. We have Liverpool to contend with on this slate, but no Man City, which is where a lot of salary gets eaten up. So in terms of a midfield play, he's probably the highest floor on the slate, will be one of my favorite plays throughout the whole slate. El Ghazi's been starting up top for them, so he becomes an interesting target. He's only 5,900, good for GPPs. You can look on FanDuel over there. Those are really my interests on the Villa side, aside from maybe one of the fullbacks, Gilbert or El Mohammadi. Bournemouth, Ryan Fraser is only 7,200, and he's favored. Like, it's hard to ignore that. And you can take both midfielders from this game on DraftKings. They're both in solid spots. They are the most expensive player on their teams, but for good reason. Diego Rico's interesting DK option at 5,500, and you can build in some value pieces here depending who they start. Again, high total game. Bournemouth is favored and has some affordable pieces, so definitely a team I like. Jumping over to FanDuel real quick. FanDuel, the big difference is I'll just go goal hunting. The goals are so heavily weighted over there. So while Grealish is a great DK play, not so much for FanDuel. Nothing great in terms of value. You can plug in maybe a Villa center back as an okay play. But for FanDuel, I'm not really a fan of this game. If anything, maybe I'd go goal hunting with Callum Wilson for Bournemouth. All right, moving over to the next game, we have Sheffield United and Crystal Palace. Odds for this one. Sheffield United is a small plus 144 favorite. Palace plus 213. Here's a number to listen to, guys. Sheffield United, one of the best defensive teams in the league. This game has a total of 2, and it's pick'em. So 2 goals. Obviously not going to be a ton to like there on FanDuel. We'll start over on DraftKings. It's kind of the cadence I'm going to go through. Sheffield United as a favorite. Oliver Norwood's fine. John Fleck's got a decent floor, but there's just not a lot of scoring in this game. I don't mind their fullbacks. Whoever ends up starting there. Enda Stevens is a little bit more expensive than I want. Baldock, same kind of thing. Just total it's hard for me to get my head around on the Palace side. Wilfred Zaha, I don't think you need him on this slate. You can look at Luka Milivojevic. This game's going to be probably one I'm least exposed to. I'm just going to follow the odds here to get a value piece that pops up on Saturday. I'll talk about an Army, but really not a game I'm interested in. Like I said, unless value pops up. So kind of a quick breakdown there. Jump back over to FanDuel real quick. I'll give it a quick scan. Nothing is popping out to me. The Sheffield United forwards rarely play a bunch of minutes, rarely play, the whole game. You could maybe play Tosin on FanDuel for $12. Again, Sheffield United is just so good defensively. I don't think I want to go there. Next up, Southampton and Liverpool. Liverpool, the best team in the league, far and away. If you don't know, you probably are not following EPL, which is okay. We're here to make some DFS money, but they are the best team in the league by a lot. They are a minus 357 favorite, which is pretty big for soccer. Southampton plus 823. Game is in over 3, slightly over that, so like 3.1-ish, I would say. For DFS, look, the chalkiest guy in this slate is going to be Trent Alexander-Arnold. He's 8,000, takes up a defender spot, and he's probably still underpriced for the floor he has, at least for DraftKings. I mean, he just puts up double digits every time. They're almost pricing you out of his ceiling now, because he needs a goal or a couple assists to hit the ceiling. He can do it, but he's not a slam dunk in GPPs on DraftKings like he has been. Mohamed Salah is the most expensive player on the slate at 10.9. If you can fit him, I don't mind going there at all. He's a little bit goal dependent, but he's been playing well. Roberto Firmino is just too expensive now at 9,900, at least for DraftKings. He's too goal dependent for me. The problem with Liverpool, they are so good, they're all priced up. Andrew Robertson, the other fullback, 6,500. You could look there. Other than that, I'm mixing these guys in in GPPs. They're priced to the point where all I'm looking at for cash games is Trent Alexander-Arnold, maybe Salah if he fits, and then a value piece if I need it. But there's enough other interesting spots on the slate. I don't think I'm going to be going there a ton. For Southampton, yeah, they're going to get smacked here, so it's pretty much a stay away. James Ward-Prowse is usually worth cash game consideration. Not this week. Redmond's too expensive in the matchup at 5,100. So no thanks here on DraftKings. On FanDuel, though, they are the biggest. Southampton is the biggest underdog on the slate. What that means to me, I want to play the central defenders. They're going to get clearances, blocks, interceptions, all that kind of stuff. That's where I'm looking. If Vestergaard plays, he's got injury concern. I'm interested in him there. Valeri's also got some injuries. Whoever starts at center defense for Southampton is a great FanDuel play. Period. Liverpool, same thing. I mean, now I'm goal hunting. Salah, Firmino. They're expensive, but that's where I'm looking. Next game up, we're going to talk about Norwich and Newcastle. Newcastle, I believe, should be the favorite. They are plus 118. Norwich is plus 225. This game's a 2.5 total. Pretty standard there. I'm going to start with the favorites in Newcastle. John Joe Shelby's still out. Matt Ritchie, big news here, is finally defender eligible. He's been midfield eligible, playing as a wingback for a long time, dating back to last season. He's defender eligible now. The dude just swings and crosses, and Norwich will let you attack. At this price, as a midfielder, I'd be lukewarm. As a defender, I have interest here on DK. The way he plays, he's a DK play. Norwich lets in goals. They are the worst defensive team in the league. So who's going to start up front? I have interest in Miguel Almiron. St. Maximin's more of a GPP play. Joelinton, if Andy Carroll starts, sure. Norwich is bad defensively, so I'll mix in all these guys. Newcastle isn't great, but they're priced well. They're mostly GPP plays, honestly, except Almiron you can consider in cash. Norwich news here, we have to watch out for Emiliano Buendia. He is going to miss. Looks like he missed last week's game with an injury. We'll see if he's back. If he's in, the dude, I know he's expensive on DK, but he's another great DraftKings play. Have to love it, even on a bad team. Like, he's worth playing. If he's out, then we get Todd Cantwell and Kenny McLean become options. And guys who always get overlooked as cheap defender spots, Max Aarons, Sam Byram, there for fullbacks, you can go there and not get crushed. FanDuel, the pricing over here. Pookie's priced way up. No thanks there. Really good plays this week are going to be the Newcastle forwards, whoever they end up being. They are priced way down. Joelinton is $13. Carroll, if he plays, is $13. St. Maximin is $12. Almiron $11. I wouldn't full stack this team, but get a piece here or there. They are your salary relief forwards on FanDuel. Next game up, Everton and Watford. I'm going to assume that Everton is still a favorite in this one. Everton is plus 149. So it's about pick 'em, honestly. The comeback on Watford is plus 179. 2.5 total, shade under. Not a ton of goals in this game, but a little less than average, I should say. It's not totally fair. Everton, is Gylfi Sigurdsson going to play? I mean, again, he's 7,400, so he's like 1,000 less than Buendia. He's also questionable. Another great floor play on DraftKings. Obviously, you can't fit in all of these guys, but they're solid options. You're going to have to make decisions this week. You can pay down a forward to get an extra midfielder. Stuff like that are larger strategies, but plenty of viable midfielders this week, Sigurdsson being one of them. Digne is 7,000. If Sigurdsson sits, I'm going to be heavily exposed to Digne. If they both play, I have some interest in Digne, but 7,000 then gets a little pricey, especially when I can get Matt Ritchie for 6,000. Sidibe is a fine DK play. He's also still priced up a little bit more than I want. And the Everton forwards have been scoring. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, he's getting a little pricey on FanDuel. Other guys look at if you want to go cheaper. Seamus Coleman. You have to look at the lineup. Leighton Baines, if he starts, is 3,500. That's probably a little bit too cheap for him. That's really it on the Everton side. Watford. Sarr is still out. We still have to see who they run out. They have João Pedro now. I don't think he started the game yet. Holebas is 4,800. He just hasn't had the production this year. I have a hard time paying 7,700 for Deulofeu. People do it. I'm not a fan of that. For me, Watford is always a team I can get. I rotate the cheap exposure. Doucouré is 4,500. Pereira's 4,500. Messina and Capuy are both 4,000. They're a place I get my one-off cheap guys. So that's what I typically do with Watford. Over on FanDuel, I'll pull that up real quick. Deeney, $18, no thanks. Calvert-Lewin, 16, maybe. Deulofeu is more palatable on FanDuel at 15 if I'm looking for a goal. Sigurdsson, 14, but he's a better DK play. Probably Calvert-Lewin and Deulofeu are my primary plays there. This game, there should be a lot of crosses from Everton, so the Watford center backs are also an okay FanDuel play. Last game on the DK slate, I will briefly touch on the hammer match. It's only available on FanDuel, but first we're going to talk about Brighton and West Ham. Brighton is I'm going to assume they're favored in this game. No, West Ham's a slight favorite, plus 150. Comeback on Brighton, plus 173, 2.5 total. So a pick'em game. with an even total. It's worth noting West Ham just played today. I'm recording this on Wednesday, so they have an especially short week. They lost to Liverpool. I think that game was 2-0. There's some interesting spots here from Brighton. Pascal Gross at 7,100. Leandro Trossard at 7,000. They're both forward eligible. Moya 69. I can go there. All those guys are cash game viable. I probably prefer Gross the most. Another midfield options over on the West Ham side. Snodgrass. On the GPP front, Malpai for Brighton. Been playing well. And then you can get cheap exposure throughout this game. The fullbacks on DraftKings for West Ham will be interesting, depending on who starts. Masuaku's only 4,200. Those are the kind of guys I like in this game. Zabaleta 3,900, and he didn't play today, so a cheap option there. FanDuel for this game. Hilaire is 16 and Malpai is 14. Those are the spots I'd go. Again, just hunting goals. You get cheap cheap look at Gross at 13, but again, he's more likely to cross, assist, chances created. They're better DK plays. Aaron Moy is real cheap, $11, but same kind of thing. But if you need some salary savings, don't mind any of those guys. Last game I'm going to talk about, and this is only for FanDuel, Wolves at Man City. Wolves are the favorite in this one just tongue-tied. Man United. All right, let's reset that game. Sorry, everyone. Wolves at Manchester United. Big difference. Man United is still a favorite, plus 119. Wolves are plus 235. Game is 2.25 total, so a little low. I would typically like this game more on DraftKings, but for FanDuel, I like the way Mason Greenwood is playing. He's only $16 because Rashford is still out. Not a ton of it. I don't want to attack the underdog here. You can take a center back from Wolves, also a decent play. That's really all I'm looking at for this game. Not a ton of interest in the hammer match for me. If you're new to DFS Soccer, I will say you didn't hear me reference goalkeeper. That is because it is the most variant position in DFS Soccer. I plug it in last. There's your advice. Go cheap. If you have room at the end, pay up for it. Just don't stack forwards against your goalkeepers. Other than that, it's just so variant because somebody, favorite can let in one goal. They win 5-1. He gets 3 points. And on the other side, you can get somebody who gets crushed 4-0, but he also makes 10 saves because his team sucks, and he ends up being the goalkeeper of the slate. So it's kind of why I don't really reference goalie and just build Corliv and build it and put it in last, and that's my approach to it. So that's what I got for the slide tackle. Hope you guys enjoy the new format. Like, comment, subscribe wherever you can. Give me the follow on Twitter. I really, really appreciate you guys. Good luck in your contests. I'll see you next time.